evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming. We have today a discussion around the book The D'Costa Family, which is, Rochelle says, very comical also, but also a layered tale that draws us into questions of heritage, memory, belonging. This book is written by Rochelle Potkar, who is a fiction writer and poet. We know each other as for your poetry, I think.
Yes.
Whose stories and poems have traveled widely across journals, anthologies, and festivals. Her writing blends sharp observation with lyricism, often uncovering the extraordinary within the everyday. And in conversation with her, we have Heta Pandit, who is a much loved writer and heritage activist, known for many books that celebrate Goa's history, people, and architecture. Through her work, she has kept alive stories of place, memory, and belonging. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you for having us.
What I was going through the pictures, the identical photos of you are from a previous
Yes.
coins.
Coins
in
Coins in reverse.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. A small something.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you,
so sweet.
Leonard. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Over to you.
Thank you.
Shall I start?
Yes.
Yeah. So, for people who don't know Rochelle, after I read the book, I felt she's so bubbly and she's so chirpy and cheerful. How did she write dark comedy like this? You know, it's funny, but it's also dark. So, my first question to you, Rochelle, is there like a hidden demon inside that's come out through the book?
Okay, so first and foremost, thank you, Dogears, for having us here. Thank you, all of you, for making it not through the rains, thankfully. And thank you, Heta, for always being up to a nice chat. So I thought my poetry was darker somehow, or more sober. And by the time I reached, to think about this entire story of the D'Costa family, I was thinking of it in dual ways, because I was already studying screenwriting, and I was studying web series, because there was this huge pandemic, lockdowns, which we had so much amount of ample forced time. So what to do with it? So one of it is, besides poetry, besides short stories, it was to look at screen and look at the dramatization of stories that I anyway were working on. So this story was with me for the longest time, because it is my family story from Kalyan. Okay, I'm born and brought up in Kalyan, not too far away from Bombay. You all have heard of Kalyan.
Yes.
And the British long ago called it Callian, Callian. And this story is of the Santos family in a way. Like the premise is the same. The Violet House is the Burgundy House, the landlords, and you had the tenants, and you had, it was my growing up years. So I think I was watching all the quirks, and there were plenty of them. There were many characters. Characters, matlab the people. Too many uncles, too many aunties. I don't know from where so many came. And too many cousins. And I think I capture that in my poetry gathering the most. And that's my funny poem. And it's dark again, because in the end, there's some darkness about it. So I was always watching and being nourished and nurtured by a big family, a very loving family, but it had its layers. It had its goods and bads. And this story was with me hence for the longest time, because I grew up with these people and never thought I would be a storyteller one day. And that's why I tell my students of creative writing that you always have a family story, at least one inside you, if not more. You could just divide the family members and have many stories, but you definitely have one family story. You have one family poem, if not more. And so these people were with me for the longest time, and I didn't do anything about it, because I didn't know I was going to become a writer or a poet. And it so happened that many years later, I come to the city, and after my corporate job, I jump into creative writing. I first dabble with poetry. Through all the themes, I reach different themes, and then I also reach my family, because that's a personal space. I mean, you can talk about social poetry, world affairs, politics, but what would you do about the private?
Yeah.
You never, you have to have your first catharsis, right, with it. So family was always part of my themes in poetry, and I don't know when it happens, but I feel there is a time, a very prime time of incubation for an idea, and it doesn't come before its time, it doesn't come after. So this family story wasn't really the first story I wrote or the first novel I wrote. My first novel is The Fabric Goddesses, a story about 3 women around the garment and fashion industry. One in Bangladesh, one in New York, one in Davangere, Bengaluru.
Been published or not?
Going to be.
Going to be.
And it's connected by a brown coat. That is a global supply chain. It's made by one woman, it's sewn by one woman, and it's worn by one woman. And the price changes because we are also talking about fashion capitalism, many things. That was my first novel. It so happened that was taking time to be written and woven, and this suddenly started knocking on my doors. Get me out! And I was like, hey, you know what, like,
wait,
you're just a family story. And it didn't want to also be that simple story of 3 daughter-in-laws and 3 husbands and some children, because that, I think those stories 20 years ago would make sense, because they were simple drama, those inner dramas. But now, because we've seen so much of stories, whether it's movies, books, we have seen a lot more drama, even in the world. So we are not used to muted inner drama, which can happen in anyone's life. So this wanted to also not be that. And so I was fighting with the story. Can you believe it? I was fighting with this entity called the story. I was like, what do you want to be? Don't you want to be that simple story of 3 daughter-in-laws and 3 sons and the children? And it was like, no, I want to come up slantwards. I'm like, okay, what do you want? And it wanted to be this crazy thing.
Wow.
I was like, okay, let's do it. Because I think I had to surrender to the story. And that is something I learned along the way, because when I was a new writer, I couldn't surrender to the story. I wanted control. How can I just give it what it wants? And now, because I had this other novel, I was like, okay, let's risk it. I risked.
Lovely. So picking up from, sorry, somebody? Yeah, thank you. Picking up from the word mute, we as women are not so mute anymore, let's say. And the matriarch in your book, the head of the house, is a woman. And she says something curious. She says the D'Costa family belongs to men. All the gems, jewels, land and bricks. That's funny, coming from a matriarch who came from the Joseph family and whose women, wealth and lands were usurped by the D'Costas in the first place. If there's anything that Rochelle is not, it is predictable.
Yes.
So here's the matriarch, and she says, oh, it's the men that are important. She nurtures her sons like, they're gold. She protects the land like it's going out of fashion, for example. So what made your matriarch, the protagonist of the book, so strong and yet submissive in a way?
Yes, so I think the one part of it was definitely inspired by my grandmother. And because she did have that same ideas that the boys are better than the girls, or like, oh, you're a girls. That was there. There were no repercussions, however, and that was the relief. Of course, there might have been something like my mother retaliating to that in annoyance and building our self-esteem. So my mother did that, which I didn't realize for long, which was so feminist of her before the word feminism, that she would get so irritated with her mother-in-law saying, oh, look at these boys. The elder daughter-in-law has boys. You all have girls.
You only have got girls.
So that thing, no repercussion, as in to say nothing like, I do remember one person talking about her childhood where she was put in a Hindi medium school and the brothers were put in English medium. Those repercussions were not here.
Because the fee structure was different? It was cheaper to...
Yes. So she had to fight to go into the English medium. There were no repercussions here. It was just this annoyance, this verbal annoyance of being told that the girls are less. So my mother would not retaliate in the way of snubbing, say, her mother-in-law, or having a kitchen sink fight or something, she would come and tell us that you can do anything in the world. So we didn't know where it was coming from, right? But she built her self-esteem, I realized much, much later. I realized that now when I feel so entitled.
But that's the opposite of your matriarch, because she
Yeah.
hides and she she tells her servants to put the mixie on so you can she could overhear conversation.
So coming back, so it was very difficult for me in this story to characterize Rita D'Costa, which is separate from my grandmother. I had to keep reminding myself, this is not,
makes sense.
This is reality, this is not. So you're taking a leaf from her, saying that, okay, she's more for the men or the boys, not for the women. But other than that, the dons, the capos, the soldiers, that's all masala. That's my distortion. That's my homage. That's all fun. But it's keeping to the crux of it. Okay, you're looking at the men, and let's go on the journey then. Rita D'Costa, what do you think then? How does it work?
There is some gender,
yes,
and discrepancy. There's some gendering also.
And then I followed her to see what is her quest. What does she want? Okay, and she already has a lot of anger because things were taken away from her family. So there's also that, which is a revenge drama kind of thing. She comes to this family. She never has forgotten what she wants back and whom she wants to partner with for this, stacks and stacks. Then because it's a black comedy, it can't be serious murder. Because I had to keep that in mind. So I was having a lot of fun while doing that.
The first 5 lines, if there's no murder, you lose interest now.
And then you follow her. You follow her to see what happens if you believe one kind of philosophy. If you believe that men are more than women, what happens if you take that through and through?
There's also a lot of preconditioning, you were taught that from the beginning, from childhood. The boys are fed more, better food, all of that.
And I think it takes so many generations to unlearn that and to discover the strength in each gender, actually. Both genders.
Is there a demographic background to where the D'Costa family is from? Are they Goans of African descent, as in of African origin, or Goans of Goan origin, or Goans of North Indian origin?
So these are based on my family only. So basically they are Goans from Goa, but they live in Kalyan. So Goans from Goa. Okay. You want to sit here? There's a chair.
Yeah, there's a chair here.
Come.
Most welcome.
So these are Goans from Goa, and the actual surname was Santos Fernandes. But naturally, if I did that, then my family would read the book, right? And they support me by not reading books. So I wanted to keep that. And then I was thinking, okay, Santos is also very difficult for anyone to understand. Santos. If I said the Santos family, it was called the Santos family in the
beginning,
semi-final draft.
Okay.
And then I was like, marketing. Come on, this is not going to work. What will work in marketing? Every Indian knows the D'Costa. Or I could have kept Fernandes. But again, Leonard would not like it, right? We are Fernandeses. No. As Naresh Fernandes told me in Bombay, that Fernandes is a disease. That surname, disease. It's everywhere. So I was like, no. Okay, let me go with another user-friendly surname that any Indian would not feel alienated with. Unlike the Santos. You think, is it Santosh? D'Costa, people immediately tune into that. So,
I'm reading from the book now. It wasn't that Mrs. Rita Costa was heartless, Rochelle tells us, but that was when she was in her father Anton Joseph's home. Now and for many years before this, things had been difficult, hard and cold as metal, where all soft things had gone elsewhere to roost. I found that, it touched a chord, and all hard and metallic things have gone to roost. I mean, soft things have gone to roost. Only the hard and the metallic and the tough things are what she recognizes as being part of her. So where did that come from?
So I think that came from the character herself, that when you sit down and you are writing the story of the character and you are you're unfurling it scene by scene, you start wondering, why is she like this? Because there's also this, you want to humanize her, and she is a human.
Yeah.
And I would wanted to do that for all of my characters, to not judge them, even though they are sometimes whacked out, wicked. I would not want to do that. Like, I mean, you can
No, but
read.
Rochelle, even when you're
Yeah.
reading, you don't stand in judgment at all. You know, you in fact sympathize or empathize with the characters, saying, "Oh, this one is like that because of this," or "That's who they are."
Yes, yes. I think that is because not only as a novelist or storyteller, I've learned to do that as a human being outside the art, to not judge. It's very difficult, but I think literature taught me that. You know, literature taught me that, because when I was learning screenwriting, they would say that the antagonist is the hero or heroine of their story. So when that happens, how do you characterize an antagonist? Unless it's a serial killer, which you don't want to go that far. How do you characterize an antagonist and make them the hero of their story, but they're on the wrong side, if you want to say that?
So, like they say that there's thesis, there's antithesis.
Yes.
And unless you understand both and balance both, there won't be any synthesis.
Yes. So when I started doing that as a practice, then you stop judging people around you much more. And because of that, you go back to writing and you judge your characters less. You let them be. Let them do what they
let them do what they
do.
do.
Let them do.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
This is the first time literature taught me to be a better human. As a
I'm sure. Now we know that you can laugh at others and at ourselves and at yourself. You should read her Coins in Rivers. There are lines like these that are both funny and familiar. There was so much in that room that it could have passed for a shop. And they had waited outside the perimeter of the house with their eyes and ears sharp, watching for changes of lights in each room of their landlord's bungalow, as if it were Morse code of his last breaths. And that is both funny and quite, sad in a way. That one, that they don't have access to the big Bhatkar house. They can't knock in and say, "Are you home?" And they're waiting for these lights in the windows to come up and go off, to see, as if they are the last breaths of the landlord himself. So your sense of humor is crazy, sinister, macabre even. Now I'll read a bit more. Had it been any other occasion, she would have nitpicked on how badly the priest invoked the Lord. No priest here. But the more Theodore's history was muddled up with, the better she felt. And not all in the church had come to grieve his death. Some had come to assure themselves that he was really dead. So
I'm so glad you're picking up these things, because I don't know, when I was writing it, this was the freest I've ever been. And it felt nice to be liberated and free and badmash and shameless. Like in many other kind of, writings. I'm not saying poetry as much. I don't rein in, but there is a certain way the genre allows you to do what it allows you to do. And some genres just allow you to go. Like, it's like stand-up comedy or sit-down comedy. You can just go.
In poetry, I feel there's a kind of anonymity.
Yes.
That you feel.
Yes.
And
but I think in drama, it's more serious. Like, you have to be a little more serious, because you're going deeper, much deeper into interiority, and your themes are heavier. So you can, of course, have fun. I even sometimes feel like having fun in drama. Then I rein back and I'm like, no, come on, she's crying. Oh, you can't have fun right now. Okay, go outside and laugh. You can't do that. But this is something which I just let loose. I just let loose, because I wanted to laugh at the characters. I wanted to laugh at my family. I wanted to laugh at humanity. I wanted to laugh at all the stupidities happening. The madness. In fact, I must admit, this is the only book that, when I was proofreading it the last time also, the 10th time, when you're tired of the manuscript, right? You have seen it in and out and you just wanted to get out of your desk. I was still chuckling.
Okay, so which is your favorite part that makes you giggle even if you read it like 100 times?
No, it's like any random part I open, and now I'm serious again, right? I'm not as black comedy as I was when I was writing, because I think we change. We have all the navarasas inside us, so we might be comical at one point, and now I'm back to being a bit serious. Yesterday I taught novel writing at Carmel College. I was very serious. So I'm in my serious zone. I'm in my serious zone right now, and when I open any line, I'll suddenly start chuckling because I didn't expect that.
Oh, okay.
So
you've also gone a little bit into Goan English, what I call Goan. Goan English.
Yes.
It's like, I have thought about it, my dear. Don't think I'm just sitting and stirring the curry pot. No, this is like Konkani to English.
Yes.
You allow your prima donna to borrow her Goanness, to show through in bursts and splutters, in claps of thunder, in torrential cloudbursts. What was the magic of following God if it couldn't even grant you amnesia, she says. And she prayed for Mary's intercession, especially in lady matters, one lady to another. A few pages later, after sinister ministrations from the landlord to his tenants over redevelopment, this, she spelt it on purpose. Yeah, development. Yeah. She, where is it? Pun intended, I'm certain. The future Don, reflecting on his status, weeps in anxiety. So why does he weep in anxiety? He's going to be the Don, the next Don.
Yeah, but I think he does have some fears. He thinks somebody's conspiring against him as well.
Okay.
Yeah, all these characters are, they have motives, and they are not all trustful of each other. Yeah, because they want the same things. And at the end, the story is about greed, right? Everyone tugging and pulling at.
I think anybody who's a bully has a certain fear in them. That's that,
Yes.
They're constantly looking under the chair and under the table and behind the cupboards to know who's lurking there.
And talking about the Goan English, I've heard so much about it, right? I mean, we say Indian English, but there is a Goan.
There is a Goan.
Yes, there is in every state. English has been nicely distributed. So if you listen to the vocabulary, it's very peculiar. It's very sweet. Also, it's very laughable. It's very laughable.
Absolutely endearing.
And it's also this interesting misspelling.
Yeah,
like some.
And it's lilting. It's like a little song.
And it's
song.
like Konkani being mixed into that. I think something like that. And then they would misspell it. Like entertainment would be entertainment. Yes. It's very cute to know that, because that's not Indian English. Indian English has another way of how it bends the language, and that I have done in my Badmash poems in Bedding Day. But this is Goan English. So I remember one application where audacity was spelled as ODDCITY. So it's like there are misspellings.
Leave it the way it is.
So I wanted to bring that too in the dialogue. I don't think I could do a lot of it, because it's also how much the story needs. I would have done a lot more, but I had to also look at what the characters in the story
to balance
needs.
it. To balance. Okay.
Otherwise, I was tempted for digressions.
Speaking of digressions, there's poison in the story also. Literally everywhere. I'm reading now, quoting. She glided through the light and dark corridors as if they were skin and tissue, and she the blood pouring through it. It makes your skin crawl, actually, puts your breath on hold and your mind set on mystery. Her novel is about real estate. A tool shed, for example, has been described as being wide as Dominic's wouldn't have existed if it were not in this small town. Imagine the real estate that could be stacked onto it if this was a city. So you are talking about real estate market pressures, real estate prices. Do you know? Are you into it? Are you understood it? You've studied it? Or?
No, I've not studied it, but because we were landlord's family in Kalyan, so the Violet Fernandes, and we still had that Violet apartment. It's still there, actually existing. So I think it was not about me. I was not so interested in land, but I think that happens subconsciously,
Mm.
that when you own land or you know about tenants or you know something, you get interested in it.
Mm.
You feel an affinity towards that,
Mm.
even though you don't really study it.
Mm.
So I have an affinity towards old houses.
Of course.
That's why I love your book.
Thank you.
But old houses in craziest ways, like of how the doors might be. I'm not even talking architecture. I'm not even talking interior designing. It's a different kind of a metaphysicality, a spiritual way of house. What
the
does house
personality
mean?
of the house.
Yeah, and house is an entity that speaks to you. And I remember in childhood, I would come to Nuwe. It was my my ancestral home, and come there and spend my May holidays before going back to school in June in Kalyan and then Bombay. But that May holidays in Nuwe, catching those dragonflies and all, having that house, and it's a different way of how you spend a holiday in May. That mattered. And even I remember kissing each wall before going back. Yeah, I would bid farewell to the house. Right. That is no longer there now.
How sweet.
But I would actually say, I'm coming back, okay? All those kinds of things. I love the house. I wonder from where does this affinity for land or house comes from, or how a house looks. It's very important to me. Like, how does its face seem? Not about rich and poor, just how is it done inside? Who lives inside? Then you come to know who lives inside, and what is it outside like. So I think it always matters for me. House is like it's a lot of metaphysical things. It's not just family and stories, but it's also the story of the house itself. So I think all this, and then when I came to Bombay actually and started living in Bombay, I saw what space and square footage of land means, because you come to a very congested 7 islands and you see the land prices. You also see that what I call geographic racism, just like that, because you see the South Bombay and the back of Beyond, and I'm like, I live with the back of Beyond. I live in Borivali, so I'm like, that's not the back of Beyond.
When I was in Bombay, they used to say Bandra, the boondocks. Now Bandra is the most prized.
And I feel that's unfair, because okay, there's a price, how do you say, disparity between what is expensive and not. But when the island submerges in rain, everyone faces the same music. Yes. And when the water and the sea level will rise, everyone is going to face it more on the coast. So there's no point of this difference. But there is, because I think that's general human nature to differentiate for superiority. That's a general thing.
Yeah,
that's a very general. But I would get fascinated by this, because coming from Kalyan, we were just Kalyan, far away from Bombay.
Central.
Yes. Now you come to Bombay and you still have the South Bombay, but I noticed the square footage and how people, how expensive the city is to people who come from outside. And even if they have 1-bedroom hall kitchens, which is rented, they're like paying through their nose. And they're paying, and they come here for their dreams, maybe their Bollywood dreams, film industry dreams. So I thought I telescoped it back to Kalyan to look at Kalyan again. And by then I was very far away from Kalyan. So I could see the Santos family of the 1990s in perspective. I could see land as an important theme and its fight for land or its square footage. Also by then the Navarasas, you finish getting knee-jerk reactions of when you're very close to something, you might have more urgent emotions expressed, like anger or like a more dense emotion. You come far away, you start laughing. You start laughing at everything.
Because is that the only way you can survive? Or?
No, I think you start detaching. Yeah, and you find everything funny. So I reached that point where I understood land through Bombay, and I understood how funny everything was. Because now the world is graver, then that was not grave. That was fun.
So I'm going to pick up on grave, and I'm going to say, what mother in the world does not have favorites? To campaign for her favorite son, Rita says, I'm quoting, Jason can do wonders. Look what he did with just a graveyard. Brought it to life. Look at the humor in this. The land of the dead. No one will say there are dead lying there. So was there a more, something under, under the, stirring under under the grave.
See, one of it is that I have this fascination with death, not in a morbid way, but I have a fascination that, okay, one day life will end, then your book closes, all the chapters done. So that feeling of liberation, this doesn't continue forever. I think Jason embodied that part of me as a writer, and in a fun way, because we gave him the graveyard. So, and he says that also, he dismisses his elder brother who has land on which he wants to build the Burgundy Tower, and he wants to do something life, like what you do in samsara. Whereas Jason, what did he do? He buried the dead. So he said, if everyone thinks of life, who'll think of death? I'll think of death. So it's that pride of morbidity.
It's quite touching, actually.
I'm glad you liked it.
No, I love it. We are coming to the end of our little discussion. You want to read from the book just a little bit?
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah. But because there are so many characters, I had to choose, what to read. And then I chose Fabian Furtado. That is who becomes the priest. So I'll just read a little bit.
Is he one of the sons?
So actually, he's a side character in that way. He's outside the Burgundy House, but he's married to Rita D'Costa, who is one of the daughters of the house. So
no, but how does he become a priest?
Yes. So that I'll read and probably we'll find out. I'm just wondering. Fabian couldn't tell anyone of his love for God, because all those around him too loved God and prayed deeply. And even if they didn't know exactly that the Old Testament had 46 books and the New Testament 27, they rattled off their prayers with fervent delight, and he had to stay quiet. It hadn't troubled him much for years that he was found in church every evening, more than on the football, cricket and hockey grounds, until one day his mother announced that Fabian was on the ripe side of 30 and it was time for him to settle down into marriage. Fabian captured his secret love for God between his tongue and palate, like the Eucharist, thinking the Almighty was going to send him a package of courage, soon, under his wings and armpits, by which he would stay illuminated enough to educate his mother about the whole truth, and she would let him go in peace to God. But the more he tried to get the attention of his fidgety and anxious mother, filled with quotidian frenzy, he couldn't show her how his love for God could ever be an excuse for not being interested in marriage, when that was the basis of their lives. And so once Fabian realized that God wasn't coming to help him in his pursuit and journey, he would give the land but not the grain, give the water but not the well. It was too late. So now Fabian does get married, okay? He gets married to Apollina. And here it was Apollina rubbing his feet, trying to entice him with her dark, naked, plump body. Why couldn't she see that he was not hers, that he was already taken? But things always had a habit of happening to Fabian, right from his birth into this world, to the admission and matriculation in his school, to the realization of God's love, and now this marriage. It was his mother who lived two lives, that of hers and his. She always made everything happen. She always made up for everything that didn't happen. But if anything here saved Fabian for God, it was Apollina herself, because she turned out to be a greater rebel than him. For one, she couldn't wake up earlier than 11 to cook breakfast for anyone, including herself. She admitted to him that she always got her tea and breakfast in bed in her mother's house, brought in by the servants, and now expected his mother, active and flighty, to do that for her. She also didn't have any idea about cooking lunches or dinners, Anglo-Indian or Goan, or any other cuisine, and had no interest in ladylike activities like going to beauty parlors, shopping for ornaments, clothing, or vegetables. All she loved to do was his work. She visited the garage to get his stray cycle bike or car fixed, washed, oiled, and greased. She could go to the bank to withdraw or deposit the month's money, or to pay premiums on the next insurance policies. She could read the newspapers on politics and economics and repair odds and ends in the house, from appliances to leaking roofs to creaking fans, to clogged kitchen sinks to toilet drains to old burnt bulbs. She would sit around when guests, especially Mr. Furtado's friends, came by to discuss world affairs and politics, much to the chagrin of both his parents. Soon she gave up on her dresses and wore Fabian's shirts and trousers because she told him she felt cooler in them. What she wore at home was one thing. She began wearing his tuxedos and three-piece suits for masses and weddings too. She had become not a laughing stock like him, but more a head turner of the wrong kind, a center of amusement, a walking circus, a butt of all jokes. She was reforming the town with mirth, more than the prayer or good deeds ever could, thought Fabian. This too was God's work and the devil's. But that's when Mrs. Furtado decided that her son's marriage was over. It was only she who could take the decision, like she had taken one around his marriage. Fabian was initially grateful for the turn of events this time, though. But once his mother did that, she also proclaimed she would get him married to a real lady. That's when the voice of Fabian broke from his guttural chamber and he spoke. The Spirit of God had thawed his rigid tongue, and words flew out strong and mellifluous. No, Mama, I don't want to marry again. I want to be a priest. No, my son. Don't give up on life just because of this robust wretch, this manly woman. There are ladylike ladies around, you will see. Plenty of them. Tender, loving and pretty, with soft hands and polished nails. You will see. Don't lose faith in womankind. We are good. We really are.
I think that's a round of applause for that.
I had serious fun writing this as well.
Suddenly, in all this, you introduce a real Ghati character. Tikya Rao. Now his name is very long. Tikya Rao, Chandra Kishore Rao, Padma Bandhu Rao, Tushar Kanti Rao, Gaitonde.
Inspector. Yeah.
Okay.
He introduces himself.
Yeah. So he's a constable, upgraded from constable. But what is he a specialist in? He's a specialist in recovering stolen chappals outside temples. Okay. And now he's suddenly put in charge of finding the murderer or attempted murder of Pedro D'Costa. He comes to this profound conclusion. Excuse my language. Sala, he says, people are worse than chappals. Thank you.
No, I must tell you that I just use the obsessiveness actually that people can have with anything. Okay. And you watch when people are obsessed about something. Their vocabulary will be about that obsession. Whatever it might be, just watch them.
So I will notice.
Yes. Anything that someone's obsessed by, everything will be like that, like this. You know, when this happens, and you're like people who love cooking. Every simile is about cooking. Yes, analysis, similes. So I realized I must take that for Gaitonde.
Why did you give him such a long name?
No, this is because he's explaining when Rita says that Rita calls him Bobby, and because she's thinking of the British cops. He doesn't realize that, right? And then she calls him Popo. That's another slang for police. So he says, no, I'm not Bobby or Popo. Who told you? I am this. This is my full name. So he doesn't understand. So I'm having fun on both ends.
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
So she says, finally, can I call you Thulla? He says, that's fine. Yeah, because that's what both understand. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what it is. So that's why I had him never leave the mold of the chappal worshipper. So even though he does this, he's investigating human problems, but his references are always to Chappal. He never leaves a Chappal. In fact, at one point, I suddenly had this very surprising discovery from the character himself, where he has a diary in which he's investigating and writing notes, and that also has one Chappal that he had not found in his life. वो leather का बनाया cover. I was like, tell me about it. I've had fun. I have had fun. I wish I could have fun with every book. I can't promise that.
Oh, we're looking forward to the next one. So, as a tribute to the book,
Okay.
can I read my poem?
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
I completed 30 years on the 2nd of July this year. And my poem goes, 30 years in Goa. So, how does it feel? 30 years? Wow. To be honest, it feels exactly like it did 29 years, 364 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds ago. The bulbuls are still nesting in the bougainvillea. The koel still calling, desperate. Thank you, Kavita. The spotted owlets still complaining about the weather. The thumbnail-sized frog still asleep in the lily cup. The white-breasted water hen in the artificial pond that my dog Potio uses as his swimming pool. My neighbors are the same, except that every now and then they jump out of Rochelle Potkar, the Costa family. Heta, said my neighbor. Let's just call him D'Costa 1. Anonymity suits them. Can you shave off a corner of your house? I can't turn my car. Heta, says the other neighbor, only the other day. Let's call her D'Costa 2. Why did you make a gate here, madam? My dogs are used to peeing in your garden. Now where they'll go? They'll just have to look for another place. I said, there, see, Mrs. D'Costa the third, she's never home. They can go and pee there. There were other Mrs. D'Costas too. The one who cried out when she saw us on our return from a trip to Bombay. Oh, sweet Jesus, you're alive? You should have died. There was lightning and our fridge, our TV all burnt. Good you went to Bombay, huh? Yes, we were alive as far as we could tell. Then another Mrs. D'Costa, my landlady. We came home to our small rental in Margao, only to see a skeleton on the terrace. Oh, that's my uncle, Mrs. D'Costa said, her usual sunny, cheerful self. I put him out to dry. It's been 3 years now. Just brought him back from the grave. When I first arrived, yes, 30 years ago, I barely knew 3 people, and not more than 3 who knew me. Today I can see there might be a few more than that who know me. Only the other day when my gardener Lakshmi left the step ladder in the garden, it was getting dark. Mr. D'Costa this time. Heta, your step ladder is out. Somebody may take it. You know, somebody who knows you won't take it. Somebody who doesn't know you, they may take it. So, thank you.
That was wonderful in itself, and also it's such
As
a
a tribute
privilege.
to your book.
So nice when like you see your characters crawling around your end. Thank you so much for that. That was a joy.
Okay.
So you narrated it, Heta. That shows. I recently read one of your talks, and I can see the theatre coming out. Your narration as well.
Thank you. But that's exactly how it happened. These are true stories, huh? I didn't make it up.
Yeah. And it's a nice way to identify them. D'Costa 1, D'Costa 2. And no offense to the real D'Costas.
Who are in the book.
Yes. No, the ones here.
The ones here. Okay. Well, thank you so much. We can now open it for questions. Please feel free. Yes.
Please do.
Tell.
Characters that you've described are so vivid and so like Heta has obviously described. such a wide array of characters, and it's a. I mean, I've not come across such people, so that that made me wonder where for a lot of writers, what we write is inspired by some experiences either we've experienced directly or indirectly, references.
Yes.
So that makes me wonder if you've actually come across, these people or some form that actually inspired, you to write these.
Yes. So actually, thank you so much for this. But actually, all the family members I've come across, they're my family members. Only distorted beyond repair. Okay. So, and as I was mentioning that, my family is very supportive. They don't read my books, so they're very supportive. So I can gossip any amount about them. And
what if somebody knocks on their door and says, "Look, your daughter or daughter-in-law has written this and this and
But they'll
this."
be like, "We'll have to read. Can you just read it to us?" So they will not read. They're all like, okay, good, very nice. She's a good. They call me the Shobha Day of my family. I'm like, not at all. I'm not as big as her. But yeah, so I think most of the families was, a rehash, an alchemy of all my. We had a very large family. Okay. And I wrote about it in my poem Gathering as well, which is a very funny poem. Maybe I'll read that also at the end.
Yes,
because that's from where the gossiping started. My fun element started. And the tenants were also the tenants. They were the people, like there is a Dominic, there is a Jack somewhere, there is an Anthony somewhere, and they were worried about their wells and their papaya trees and their little things. And that also taught me about proportion, because I think in the world now that we're fighting over very big things and large things and failing, I think about the small things that were so stupid. Like we are like, sometimes I call that the lollipop wars. Not to the tenants. I'm not saying to the tenants and their papaya trees. I'm saying sometimes human beings fight for the smallest of little things, and you're like, the biggest things are being.
Can I share another story? This is a real life incident. There were two neighbors who didn't speak to each other for 3 generations. And what was the original fight? The hen from one neighbor had gone into the compound of the other and laid an egg in the compound of the other person. So who does the egg belong to? And they fought over it for 3 generations. This is a true
story. And the egg stayed because it was a dinosaur's egg. Yeah, let's have a fantastic.
No, this is the thing. My landlord in that Albati.
Yeah, so all these characters are from from very, very much of my growing up time, except Gaitonde. I think Gaitonde has come from somewhere. I don't know where he came from. He came from Bombay, I'm sure. He came from my time as a screenwriter or a film person, because I'm like, where did he? Gavin has come from Kalyan, because there was a Gavin who was the villain in Bollywood, a real person.
Really?
Yes. Oh. And he used to really, he was Anglo-Indian, because there's half of the characters are Anglo-Indian. So in Kalyan you had the Sindhis from Ulhasnagar, you had the Goans, and you had the Anglo-Indians, and then you had the rest of India. So here I've only focused on this part of it, and the Sindhis a bit, but all my best friends in Kalyan were Sindhis, all of them. And Gavin was a real character, because he was one of the most handsome villains who bashed up the heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like an old-time hero villain called Ranjit.
Yeah. No. Gavin, actually, if you just Google, you'll find Gavin. He's
a real life.
He's a real life. He's a real life, and he came from Kalyan. Yes, and he was the pride of our district.
Okay.
So he's an important character too, but only I've changed the last name, of course, and given him some dramatic stuff, which is not the real Gavin. But if you Google Gavin of the 90s Bollywood villain, you'll find a very handsome Gavin. No, not Gavin.
Okay.
I don't remember now the last name, but we knew him as Gavin, and he was the pride of our times. Yeah.
Okay.
So the fact we live in like a joint family system, because there's generally a lot of drama that happens.
Yes. And also the kitchen politics, which is always with those little curries and reshados and the fish fries. And somebody somewhere had mentioned to me that we were hungry when we read your book. And I was like, why? Luckily, at least no one has read the book here, right?
No.
Thank God, because if I hope that question wouldn't arise, but I was told that we felt hungry and our mouths were watering. And I was like, why? Because you've mentioned the cutlets and you've mentioned how the pomfret is slit and the reshado. And I said, what was actually happening? I was feeling hungry while writing the book. And I either couldn't cook at that time or leave my work and go and bring the bowl of food. So what if my characters did that? While keeping the plot alive, what if they did their little cooking and I would feel sated? So it transferred to them having their mouths watered.
But food is also a language, I feel,
Yes, here it's used
you communicate
as a
through
culture.
food. You spread love through food. Any home you go to in India, anywhere in India, poor or rich, anywhere, they will, first thing they'll say, kya khaoge, what will you have?
Absolutely.
And emotion. Food is also
food is emotion. And here it was used as culture because I was introducing Anglo-Indian and Goan cultures and how to contrast them. Because no one outside of that community knows what's the difference. You have a Christian sounding name, then how are you different? Okay, so they don't know that. So how do you distinguish? And also the politics in the family. Because if it's a Goan household, the men have told that only Goan food will be cooked in the kitchen. There's also the gender politics in the kitchen. Who decides the dishes? So that's also a bit of politics there. Where she will only cook Goan dishes, but not Anglo-Indian dishes. So then she says, where's my pish pash and where's my railway mutton curry and all that. But it's also that a writer asking who's a foodie.
Also the question of, how do you navigate your audience? Because you're writing and projecting for a readership which doesn't understand the nuances of these communities. And it's very easy to end up in a stereotype like Bollywood is doing all the time.
True.
Including, not so much Jane Borges, but Lindsay Pereira, for example.
Yes.
Ended up with review titles like, those nasty goans of Orlem or something like that. So there is this problem because your readership is going to be. I'm not saying that Goan should write only for Goans.
Yes.
But how do you manage avoiding a stereotype there?
Yeah, I think because I lived in Kalyan, which was very cosmopolitan as well, and I didn't live in Goa. So it's not that I was only surrounded by Goa and Goans. I've seen how they react to us and to everybody across the sections of class, culture, religion. Then I lived in Bombay, again, multiple people, not only in Goa. So I know how they react to things. So when I was writing it, I wrote like a storyteller would write any character. You humanize that person. Whether it's Goan, whether it's Christian, whether it's Hindu, whether it's NRI, doesn't matter. You're finding the humanity of this person. Now, because this is a black comedy, I couldn't go deeper into the humanity because this is not drama. So I had to keep it at a level which is asinine. So it goes a little bit. You are making a unique character, like Jason is a unique character, but then you're also giving him the spade where he's a graveyard digger. You don't forget that. So I think humanizing a character takes them out of stereotypes. And then anyone relates to them because they become more like archetypes, not stereotypes. And that's what I've done. Of course, when this was a script at the 2023 book to box office Goa Film Bazaar, it was selected. And when some directors were interested, they did say, can you just change the names? Can you make them simpler names? They wanted to dumb it down. So I had to discuss with them how much I'm ready to do or not ready to do. Because I didn't want it to, dilute. So, but no, I don't think I could subscribe to stereotyping because that's so lazy. And as a storyteller, I wouldn't enjoy it because it's a flat character. It's a very flat character. Then you have Michael दारू पी के दंगा करता. So Michael ऐसे ही दारू पी के दंगा. Michael has a big story why वो दंगा किया. So that's the human story underneath. Yeah. So then this Mrs. Rita D'Costa could be anybody. She could be from Punjab for all you care, and she could be Chhabriya.
Yeah, true.
And she'll still work because she still is going to get angry with her other family. She'll still plot for something. She'll still have her quirks, and she'll still find
So is this a kind of revenge that she's taking on her own sons, or am I going too far?
The past. She wants to redeem it. And sometimes I wonder whether we can really redeem pasts or cannot or forgive. I don't know. Or understand look at it in a new way.
Or reconcile.
Which she does, right? She finally
gives it.
Yes. Finally she's the main protagonist. So I had to follow her. Because see, there's another thing about writing many characters. You shouldn't forget who you're following. Because a story always has one main character. And then you can have others. So sometimes I feared that the other characters were more interesting than Rita. I was like, Jason or Gaitonde or even Gavin De Monte doing his fight sequences. But then I was like, well, let's come back to Rita. Let's not forget her because it's her story eventually. Yeah.
So yes. There is screen it up.
No,
go ahead.
But I'm glad that you ended your response on this note, because that was something that was going on in my mind during the discussion as well. But then, while during a discussion itself, I was finding it hard to just keep a mental note of so many characters, so much of variance in terms of the quirks that they have, and they're also intertwined. One is related to this person, one is afterwards getting related. For you to carry this script right to the end, was it difficult for you? Because for you also, it was not like you in one setting you finished it. You were working on 2 books in parallel, as you had mentioned.
Yes.
Did you face this difficulty or did you have some sort of a mental map that these are my caricatures? These are the quirks?
Yes. So for this one is because it was like ready-made. Some of them were ready-made characters, distorted. I already had something. Unlike the Fabric Goddesses, which is my other novel, which everybody was a new character. You to put them together, discover them, hang out with them like friends, understand them. So embody them, and then understand their dialogue and dialect. Everything is like new. Like, I don't know how I had to still learn in Kannada what you call for deer, or in Bangladeshi Bangla what do you call for a girl child, say. In endearments. I had to still learn that because that's a change. Here it was easier. Here I had this. But I think I was also, like he was asking, it was also a script written differently. Because I was pitching this as a screenwriter in a script format in 2023 it was in conversation with the book to box office Goa Film Bazaar. Whether it could be a web series, could it be a film, just conversations. Like, I'm not saying it happens because you need producers with lots of rokda. Okay, at least minimum you need. I need 2.5 crores for this to happen, and also that this will not happen in Kalyan because no one even believes that there are Goan Catholics in Kalyan. They're like, this is Goa, right? This is a Goan story. I'm like, okay, we can transport it. We can even have Konkani speakers, but they are not ready to believe. There are Goans in Kalyan, which I'm like, okay, but the book is truer to being what it was. It's a Kalyan story there. So I think that outline of the screenplay helped me clarify a lot of things. But if I had to do this as an independent, like only a novel, I do outline still my story plots, because I do follow some of the ways of A story, B story, C story, which is a very screenwriting related. We follow the main plot line, then you may have like, if the main plot line is murder, let's say, then the subplot is romance. And let's say then there is some other neighbors, hens and eggs, C story. So you will have, and maybe the 4th D story is that ladder or the dog pissing in some place, habituated place. You can have, but you do have a map of some kind. I think that is the pre-work which you do as writers in any case, whether it's script or book. You never start with that first frightening page. You always have your rough outlines, maps. So I do have a lovely little map for you here, which is a family tree. Yeah. So don't worry, you won't get lost. It's the key. Yeah. It's definitely there. Don't worry. It's here. It's here. Yeah. So there is. And there's a little mouse also. Only the mouse's name I don't know. Like we don't know the cat's name that's going here. No, there's a mouse here, but I don't know the name of the mouse. Like there's a cat going here, it's a nameless cat. Yeah. So we also need to give a name for the cat.
No, it's not here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You're allergic?
We need that
Scared?
because it's like a bookworm cat.
She's not here now.
Okay, but yeah, so that's how it worked. That's how it worked.
You can give charcoal.
As long as Queenie is ready.
Queenie doesn't have a name.
Oh.
She's not a cat person. That's why.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So that's how, because I had, the script and I had my family support. I couldn't forget anyone. They didn't let me forget that. But new stories I still outline. Yeah. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I don't have a question, but I read Coins in Rivers last year, and it's one of the very few books that stayed with me. Like the sights and sounds of all the poems, and the wide array of topics that you've covered, from identity to liberation, and also the one about the toys of Chitrakoot. Like, I love art, but I've never thought about craftsmen from that lens. So it did bring, the sense of sympathy, empathy, like the literature teaches you. So I'm looking forward to this book.
Thank
I really
you.
like the whole.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
saying that. And Coins and Rivers was a collection of poems from a long time. Like many years it took me to collect. And if you're talking of two things you spoke about, imagery, I think that comes a lot from my practice as a haiku poet and haibuneer. Because I teach these forms, I also write these forms, and they employ a lot of visuality and imagery. So even I teach a lot of these, I teach at the Himalayan Writing Retreat, some poetry courses, a lot of visuality when you're writing. And because of that, it helped me as a screenwriter, because you're conjuring images. And I think that's how it slipped into my poetry as well. And talking about Chitrakoot, because I think I have a very strong case about capitalism and how it affects the world. Even Fabric Goddesses is about fashion capitalism. It's pros and cons. This was about capitalism where, if you remember that, it was about a toy maker and how he's a toy also to the larger world. So you zoom out, but I think that either is the haibuneer looking at it or a scriptwriter. I'm not sure now who's looking, but it comes from a thesis on capitalism somewhere. And at the same time, that very rusticity of mud, terracotta, what you do as you create. Because I think when we create, we're very innocent, naive people. When we are placed in the frame of capitalism, it starts becoming corrupt, very pressuring, very stressful. Like even for a writer, right? How many copies will sell? Or like what's the ROI? What's your sales and marketing potential? That's the sad part. The beautiful part is the infinite storytelling possibilities and imagination. So isn't the toy maker also me?
Yeah, it is.
It's us. Isn't it us?
It's all of us.
I get that perspective because I'm also working on a book, and then I realized very selected number of people would want to read about linguistics, and this is a labor of love ultimately.
Yes.
It's so much effort, but I know the audience would be limited.
Yes. So
you've got
there you go.
two
already. Brilliant. So that's what happens, right? That's what we love something to do, and it's infinite, and you're stuck with the very narrow possibilities in reality. So this whole
it's beautiful the way you have just described that. I'm also probably the same toy maker. That's quite true for a lot of, I think everyone.
all of us.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing that.
You had a question.
So I mean, this book, just based on what you have read of it, it sounds like a ripe consumption for soap opera kind of program, serials, films. Are you working on any screen adaptation?
Yes, this is as I said somewhere that some of my ideas have dual citizenship. They are also novels because they have a lot of interiority and mal masala of the character, and they also have the dynamism of scripts, because scripts move very fast. They don't wait. Like, I mean to say, I was talking yesterday in Carmel College, and I said the difference between the script and the novel is that in a novel you could talk of the swaying of the coconut trees for 2 pages. It will work. You do that lyrically, it will work. Okay, nothing else. You do that in a script, it can't work. You put it in one line: swaying coconut trees. Get to business. What's the dialogue? What's happening? Where's the location? What's the conflict? Right? Rising action, falling action. You have no time. But there's a dynamism. It moves so swift in visuality. So yes, this was dual.
So, I mean, do you have that screen adaptation? Or
I do have it. And now there will be play adaptations because this was released in NCPA. So there were some people who jumped at me after that and like the D'Costas only, but not these D'Costas, like the D'Costas from the book. And they were like, we can make this a play, 1.5-hour play. And I'm like, I'm going back to meet some people who want to make it a 1.5-hour play in Bombay.
Oh, that's lovely. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, mutate. Mutate.
Every book has a life of its own.
Yes,
No?
yes. Even I'm doing this launch at Prakriti Foundation, and because they do a lot in Chennai, they do a lot of dramatics. So they say, and I was a prize winner for a play last year, which was it was a 10-minute play. It was called Catharsis. It was about 2 women shoplifters, and it was called Drama Queens. It was crazy, as crazy as this. So I won that play. Best writer, best actors, best production, popular prize.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I forgot about it after that because the D'Costas consumed me, right? I forgot about it. But this year they reminded me and said, you were the winner of last year. Come back with this. And I hope this is as funny as that because we have to dramatize it. So I was like, all right. Instead of only seeing it as a script, which I don't know when I'll get that big fat producer. Okay, but at least the play can happen.
Yeah.
Some play can happen because I need 2.5 crores people. And agents so far have not, like I've worked with 2 agents. I've not had very great experiences with them. They take long. It's nothing that way personal. They just take too long. Sometimes I feel if I self-agent, I'm faster. So I'm wondering why, like I self-agented my book of poems to Hachette, Coins and Rivers. And it was faster. All I had to write is what I think is the sales and marketing potential because that's what they want to know. So they want to know about the capitalistic framework, right? Market. So my editor came back and said, the book is powerful, but you spoke like an agent. So I think marketing, you have to be aware of marketing lingo. But I must say that has helped me from the time I came in 2013 to publishing next. Yeah, that changed. Because I remember we were sitting in this conference and it was a mixed bunch. It was not a poetry festival or a literature festival where you're only celebrating the book. I remember one lady, I don't know who she was in the crowd of the audience. They were discussing book business, okay? Now we're talking market, business. And it's also boring for a poet for the first time you go and you're like, what is this market thing? And she stood up and she said something very interesting and I'll never forget that visual. She stood up, she held a book, fatter book, fatter than this. She said, I weigh it and I decide the price. 320. Yeah.
On the way.
Yes.
Okay.
She said, I'll place it at 320. And for the first time I thought books were a sack of potatoes then. I suddenly felt at that moment soulless, but in a nice way, where you realize a new perspective that it's a sack of potatoes also. It could be that. Yeah. So, yeah.
So
I think,
in terms of the tense that you employ in your writings, is it, based on what you read, it was a past tense, but what tense do you employ in the dialogues? I guess it will be present, right?
Present. Yes.
Or is there any other style that you employ?
No, present.
No, and rest is past.
Rest is, immediate past because it's happening. It's a story that's unfurling very much, except for when I'm talking of the backstories of Anton Joseph and the Joseph family, where they came from Calcutta and then they came, the Anglo-Indians came from Calcutta, and the Goans came from Goa.
Right. Because if you see, authors like Dan Brown, John, if you have read some of his books, he'll be employing, I don't know, it seems like a present tense when he's narrating. Okay. And in the dialogues are obviously, present. Has to be.
Right.
But even while narrating it, I'm an author myself, but while narrating it, he puts the present. And the way, the genre, the style, it's kind of unique. So I've been looking for those kind of, differences.
Right.
How do people communicate, which makes the reader feel that he's in the situation or she is in the situation. So
maybe it would be the narrative voice as well. Is it a first person, second person, third person narrative? That also changes.
It's a person,
It's a first person?
No, it's the character.
So it's a second person. You. Character you.
So, for
Yeah.
example, if there's Mr. A, then there's Miss B.
Yeah.
He'll narrate it as though Miss B is telling it. That's the way he's doing, which is why.
So he's in Miss B's head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's first person. That's I. Yeah, that's first person. Yeah. So in first person, you have a more proximity of that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is third person narrative. Like there are all names. They are all little far away.
Third person is very common.
Third person. Because I have to take a large bunch, no?
Makes it safe
Yeah.
also. I would say because
I think more than safe. I'm more than safe because there are so many characters. I can't be in Rita's head. She won't know half of the things going on then, because that's one fault of the. If you put your narrative through one head, that head can't see omnipresently. So you better be outside, so all characters are covered, because they're doing too many things. They're doing hanky panky like anything. So yeah, but maybe when you read it, you find the style, the tense.
Anything? Anybody? Shall we call
Anybody else?
close. Now, my advice to you is do buy the book and don't lend it to anyone, because I made the mistake and I still haven't got my book back.
Oh,
D'Costa itself?
that's D'Costa. Is that D'Costa 5? Is that D'Costa 5 now?
Too many D'Costas in your
what's
life.
the motivation for you? If you write the book, is it your background? I mean, no, we
Your
have discussed it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think it came a little.
Did you come a
late.
little late?
Yeah, okay.
This is like my distorted family, my family story. Yeah.
That was a central.
Yes, that was something that was waiting to be told. Like, now my other stories are not about my family, and let me tell you, my family was not that eventful that I'll have every novel about them. Now it moves to other stories. One story even in Kunur, actually, a thriller.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so somebody told me I'm from Kunur. I'm like, oh my god, I'm coming there. But I can't get it wrong now, right? When you know there's a reader in Kunur, you better go to Kunur. Figure it out. Yes, but thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank
Actually,
you.
We've had a
Thank you.
lovely
Thank you.
evening. Yeah.